Hi everyone, I am Poober here, ready for episode 22 of our Factorio 0.15 series. And in today's episode, we are tackling this big project here. This will be our new science factory. It will have everything from our early game to late game science all in this compact square here, which as you guys know is something I definitely appreciate. So I'm going to grab a couple stacks of supplies and then we will get started. So let me start out by giving credit where it is due. This was a design made by 3 Total. It was submitted to Reddit about 1 month ago, which is how I found it. It was looking through the Factorio subreddit. And I believe he made this based off of a challenge. It was supposed to be something that was going to incorporate all of the sciences apart from rocket science, for obvious reasons, and then square and obviously as compact as possible, and then as ratio perfect as possible. And I believe when this is all said and done, it should make about 1 pack a second, which is kind of the standard for science factories nowadays. We won't be able to expand on this unless we want to make basically another duplicate of this, but that is fine. If you know me, I just kind of look for it to be aesthetically pleasing and then still efficient. So 1 pack a second for now should be definitely an upgrade from what we did have, and then it should be fine for getting us into the late game. And looks like we are already out of assembly machines. I grabbed about a stack and a half, but this obviously takes a lot more than that. So I am just starting by kind of putting everything down that are the big landmarks in this blueprint here. But let me grab another stack of assemblers and I will be right back. And I've returned with another couple assemblers. I don't have enough, I don't think, to fill in the entire thing, or maybe I do, we'll see. But I'm just happy to stick with blue assemblers for now. I don't have the assembly 3 machines yet. But eventually we will upgrade them to the assembly machines once we do reach that tech. So it may be not quite the 1 pack per second until we get the assembly machines upgraded, but that should be okay. It does leave us with the potential for getting the right ratio. So I think I'll start here at the top. This section here will be for our iron gear wheels. And even placing the belts down will be kind of confusing with this blueprint, just because not everything is always so clear about where it's going. But we will do the best we can. And I'm not sure why there's a pipe there. Actually, okay. So we're just going to fill in stuff as we go. Prior to 0.15, I would have just had an image of this factory saved to my other monitor, and I would have just kind of copied it and scrutinized where everything was, and it would have taken me hours and hours. So it is nice to have this available to us. I think when I started the series I said I felt kind of cheaty doing this, but I have to say it is a lot nicer to do this instead of just making myself miserable looking over at my other monitor for hours and hours trying to make sure I have it right. So this will kind of help us guarantee that we have everything go where it needs to go, and hopefully in less time. The other thing we'll have to do before we turn this factory on is make sure that we get more power. This will obviously be much more power intensive than what we currently have implemented. I think we still only have the 16 steam engines right now, which is barely even covering our current factory requirements. And by the way, while we're in the map feature, I did finish putting in our green and red factories here, so that's ready to go. And we've got a lot of it built up already. So we may not get to be able to turn this on until next episode when we can get more power initiated. I don't really have like a rhyme or reason about where I'm starting. I'm just trying to follow the belts as closely as I can. It's a little confusing because it's not as clear as I would like it to be. Just because some of the landscape is in the way. There. Just trying to make sure I get everything right. It would really suck to build this and then not know what's wrong with it later on and have to do some troubleshooting. Here we go. I think this wraps around. Eventually, I would like to try and make my own science factory, but for now, when we don't have anything, honestly, it's just easier to go with something that someone else has already made, and then we can get creative later. I'm already getting a little confused with the orientation of the belts. So I may have to just kind of comb through the blueprint on my other monitor anyway in just a minute here. But we can troubleshoot later. We'll just put in as much as we can for now. I believe the other requirement with this blueprint was that it did have to be fed by like red circuits and green circuits separately, so they're not actually built in this factory here. It is brought from an outside line, which is fine. And it looks like he has a filter inserter here. And then underground starting, is it this way or does it go? No, it's got to go the other way. Okay, so let me just start at the top. There we go. And sorry if you guys are having a little bit of a hard time seeing. I will get lights down as soon as I can. And we're already going to need another stack of our underground belts. We're already running low on those. Another thing he does with this factory is he uses all blue belt tech, and that's obviously something we don't have yet. So another thing we will upgrade in the future will be the belt tech. Alright, I'm gonna grab my other stack of underground belts and a couple more of the assemblers, and I'll be right back yet again. And I'm back yet again with another stack of supplies, so let's keep going. We're on a roll so far, and I'm going to start kind of connecting this into electricity when I can so we can get some lights at nighttime for you guys. And then this will stop annoyingly blinking at us. Oh, there we go. So let me know what you guys think of this blueprint, and if you have some other factory recommendations that would kind of accommodate this same requirement, you can link that down below. I would love to take a look at it and try anything different as well that still kind of fits in these general guidelines and still looks good. And I will have to make a couple more poles by hand, but that's not a big deal. They get made pretty quickly. So I'm going to start back up the top again and just start reviewing, kind of making sure everything is going where it needs to go. I am looking at my other screen to just double check my work so far, and then we can make any modifications early on instead of having to figure out what's wrong. I am not sure why he... Actually, I was going to say, I'm not sure why he has an underground belt here, but I'm pretty sure that would be to allow for better compression by using the underground belt trick. Okay, and then another underground there with a splitter. Oops, keep grabbing the wrong thing. Okay, so let me start filling in the recipe so I can start kind of keeping track of where we are in the factory. So it should be 5 iron gear wheels top and bottom here. Good. And then the kind of standard 5 red science packs here. That should allow for the 1 red science pack per second. This section here should be the green science. And I'm just trying to double check. So actually, oh, I was going to say there are 7 green science packs here, which would be more than 1 per second because it actually would take 6 assembly machines of green science packs to be 1 per second. But where I'm going wrong is that this one should actually be belts. Right there. Good. This one here is our yellow inserter, and this one is yellow ammo, actually. And then he has a couple more inserters all over the place that I'm just trying to fill in, just so we can at least get this top section done. And let me start filling in those lights. We'll do kind of to the corners would be nice. That's a little bit better. Let's do another couple electrical poles. Alright, let's keep putting in our belt. And he just has so much belt all over the place, I really am having a hard time figuring out where it all goes. But he did do a good job with the design, I do have to say. It's really hard getting something this compact with so many components involved. Okay, we're coming along okay. We obviously still have a lot to do. These filter inserters here, he has to differentiate what products are going to be going on those lines so we can keep track of what goes where. And well, there we go. I think we fixed that. And I'm already running out of underground belts yet again. Let's see. So does he goes under like this, I think. Yep. And I'll have to get another stack before I can continue. So let me put in a little bit more belt. And then I might just do the rest with a time lapse here. Okay, so he has half of it going like this, and the other half going like this. And this is where he starts the electric engines, which is why he does have the pipes here. They do need lubricant. So we'll have to make sure that we have another lubricant plant up and running as well. So let me put the label on these. Oh, I can't. I don't even have engines researched. That's so sad. I'm so far behind. Okay, so he loops that around like so. And then this goes up. This goes down. And then let's fill in a couple inserters before we go and resupply. And looks like he even uses the green inserters, which we don't have researched yet either. So what we might do is just turn on kind of like the red and green science parts and do a little bit more research with just what is working here, and then we'll continue on with the other stuff once we do have that researched. So I'm gonna go resupply and get the red and green signs hooked up, and then we'll keep going with the time lapse of the rest. Okay, so now let's hook up our iron plate that we will need to this section here. It's kind of the start of the factory. Let me do a light there so we can see a little bit better. So we're going to need 2 lanes, and our iron will be coming from this top lane here of our main bus. So that won't be too difficult to do. We can do... It sucks because the curve is right there. Maybe like this. And then our other input here. And we'll kind of loop it back around, which should be fine. And oh, there they are. There we go. And then I'm just going to balance these out a little bit here. There we go. I I think that should be balanced. So we'll have our iron stop here. I don't want it feeding all of the way down because that will turn on more of our power and cause more biter problems. So let's connect up our... Whoops, those got changed around. So yeah, let's continue hooking up our iron at least through here. And this will be another good way of making sure that it gets to where it needs to go in our research factory. And it looks like it's working already. It's making our gear wheels and distributing it properly. We do need to put in our inserters so that it actually can start making the red science though. And then of course we'll need to figure out where we're going to be putting our labs. Okay, and then another underground couple here. Oh, I see. Okay. Like that. Alright, there we go. And let's continue on with our belt. Straight through here, I'm trying to get it to an output now so we can put in some labs. And I'll build a couple, although I know we have a couple more in storage, but I at least want some going. I think that looks right so far. Yep. And a couple more underground belts here to there. Okay. So let me finish the rest of this in our time lapse here, and then we'll get more research going, and I'll see you guys in just a bit. Okay guys, we have our first green science packs now trickling down. I now have red and green science now fully working so we can get a couple more things researched. We do need engines which can be researched with red and green. So let's do that and then we can start finishing the rest of our science factory. It is coming a good ways now. I've got most of it, if not all of it, filled in. We've got to do a little bit more of this belt down here. And then of course fill in the rest of the labs, but I wanted to get something going so we can continue working. So let me continue filling in the rest of the stuff here. We've just got a little bit more ways to go, but not too bad. And here we have our science factory in all of its glory. All of it is filled in, apart from a couple of the recipes I wasn't able to add because we haven't researched the tech yet. This section here, for instance, will be our purple science that we'll put in later. But we will have to wait until next episode to turn it on. We're going to finish connecting all of the belts next episode when we finally have some more power to feed this bad boy. So I hope you'll join me then. Thank you for joining me with episode 22 currently, and I hope to see you at the next one.